So the first branch I'm going to chat about is Branciforte. And I don't know how familiar you are with the branch. I'm going to give a very brief tour of the footprint of the building as it currently stands before the renovation. The red arrow indicates the main entry. And then immediately inside that in the light green is the lobby space. To the right in the light blue, that's the adult collection. And then in the medium blue to the left, number 6, that's the children's area. And then there's a small teen room in the dark blue, number 7. And then, a significant portion of the library is the dark green, and that's the staff area. I won't go into too much detail on the kind of deficiencies of the existing building. I think they're apparent when you, they're apparent when you look at this, spread of images here. Horrible lighting, an underutilized exterior patio that is immediately adjacent to the children's area, and outdated and poor quality furniture, among many things. So these are all specific functional needs of improvement. So when we think about a design, we don't start by drawing a building. We start with inspiration, we start with context, we start with a grounding in what the building means for a community. In this case, we thought about some natural inspiration. The library has these beautiful existing curved wood beams. And so we looked to inspiration from the forms of tree roots and the relationship of tree roots to tree canopies and how that can relate to the kind of curve of a creek. And then the relationship of the structural nature of tree branches and tree roots to human structure, like a trestle, a truss. We also looked at the textural qualities of water and the colors that water brings forward that aren't always blue. There's a little richness to the texture of water, as you all know, living in Santa Cruz. And then elements that coexist with water, like the gray of river-worn rocks. So you can see how this starts to become a material palette for the building. We have a wonderful medium-toned wood, and that's contrasted with some cooler tones in the color palette. We have some bright pops of accent colors. We also have some sophisticated deeper blues in the fabrics. And then those are contrasted with a more muscular concrete and steel. And then the carpet has a textural quality that actually has a little bit of an ocean or a water-like feel to it. And then etched glass gives a graphic element to the building. So this is the proposed floor plan, and I'm going to walk through the major differences. The first thing you'll see when you walk in the front doors, there used to be a confined vestibule, and now you enter into an open lobby with an easier to navigate staff desk that's shown as number 9. Straight ahead is the teen area. It's also a multi-purpose meeting room. That's in the dark blue, number 7. And then we've created an acoustically separated children's area, number 6. 2 big changes. Number 10, you can see we've reclaimed that exterior patio for the children's area. So that's going to be a wonderful space. And then number 8, we had an oversized and underutilized staff storage room that we've reclaimed for a community meeting room that can also be used after hours with the restrooms while the rest of the library is closed. So walking up to the building, it's a really different experience from what it currently is. This approach right now is really a sea of concrete and a hidden corner that kind of collects trash and isn't really that wonderful of an approach. So we took out some of that concrete, we introduced a greenway, and then for that hidden corner, we activated it with this slot window that gives a little peekaboo of people entering the building, and this great playful bay window. It's a great spot to sit and watch people walking by. You maybe wait for a friend or a parent. As you walk into the building, it's a much more open experience, really easy wayfinding, and it really highlights this beautiful original structure in the building. The great reading room, this is in the adult collection. We are actually thinking about this as a process of subtraction rather than addition. Often in a renovation, we want to strip a building down to its core essence. And in this case, it has these beautiful curved glulam beams, curved wood beams. And we've sort of simplified the palette. We've gone with white and blue as our accent color, and we really emphasize this beautiful volumetric room with some new light fixtures and simple finishes. Here's that bay window from the inside. You can see just a great spot to hang out, good spot to have a chat with a friend, wait for someone, see them coming down the walkway. The teen room also serves double duty as a meeting room when the teens are not utilizing this space, so it's really flexible in that regard. It's acoustically separated by glass walls and has a little bit of visual separation, but not so much that it's a hidden corner. So it's a really nice sort of activated space, acoustically separate for studying, but nice lines of visibility. The children's area, we're playing with those same concepts that you see in the adult area, but we're bumping them up a notch. It's a little more fun, a little more playful, a little more colorful. We always like to incorporate spots for children's art, places to pin up. So in some of the built-in seating areas, we're going to have tackable fabric panels, and great place for librarians to pin up kids' projects. And then looking back over this space, you can see it's a really wonderful space. It almost has a little bit of a Japanese element to it. There's some similarities in Japanese architecture and mid-century architecture. And so we're playing off that with these wood slats that frame the back of the space. And then stepping outside, just a really charming children's patio, a much better, more enclosed fence, better for a sense of safety, playful, colorful furniture, and then cafe lights above. We love the idea of hanging out here on a warm Santa Cruz summer night. The reclaimed community room, this is just going to be a great multi-purpose space for author readings, different types of storytime events. This can also be a space that could be utilized by the community independent of the library after hours, because as you can see, there's now direct access to the outside. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about Garfield Park. So again, I'm just going to briefly walk you through the existing layout. Arrow in red indicates the front door. On the left in the light blue, number 2, you can see the adult area. On the right in the darker blue, that's the children's area. The medium green, number 7, is the staff area. And number 8, the darker green, is a small meeting room. So the thing that I'll point out as the thing that drives me crazy about this building as it used to be, we've already actually demolished all this out, and it's actually kind of wonderful inside post demolition because it's so open. There's bookshelves in front of the windows. There's these beautiful windows with articulation from the original Carnegie Library, and there's stacks in front of them, just sort of completely preventing daylight from coming in. So that's one of the things, among other things you can see here, that really just feels like a missed opportunity. Inspiration for this project comes from some things you'll be familiar with on the west side of Santa Cruz, in particular the monarch butterflies at Natural Bridges State Beach. And we love the play of those monarch butterflies and that color with the color of a sunset on the Natural Bridges rock. And then the relationship to the California poppy. So we like that idea of a little pop of orange. And then that's contrasted with kind of, again, the textural qualities of the ocean. And then we love the sophistication of a gnarled cypress at the ocean's edge. You can see how that plays into this palette here, a darker wood, sophisticated walnut. And then we have pops of that orange in the fabric that gives a little vibrancy. And then it's contrasted with blues, but kind of a different tone of blue than Branciforte, a little more playful. We have a sand colored carpet. And then for metal, we have accents of brass, which are really a nod to the Carnegie Library. So taking a look at the layout here, I'm going to point out a couple things. The first is we removed all of the shelving in the center of the space and in front of the windows, and we pushed it to the perimeter. The second is there were walls that were crowding the middle of the space and an oversized circulation desk. So we've reclaimed that for the public. You can also see a much larger community, a meeting room, and then just a really clear organization. There's an aisle for new books down the center, and then on the right, children's, on the left, adults. Walking in, you can see we really reinforce that axial symmetry of a Carnegie Library. So we're being respectful of that. And We're treating it in a contemporary way with some nods to kind of an original approach with a built-in millwork around the perimeter, for example. At the transition between the original Carnegie Library and the addition that was done in 2000, we're making a transition in formal qualities from a kind of a more built-in millwork, a curved crown molding soffit, to a more contemporary approach, but the material palette remains the same: walnut wood, bright white, brass accents. Looking at the fireplace, this is really kind of this wonderful, comfortable spot. There's built-in seating, window seats on either side, and then a new fireplace with marble surround that is going to be just a great space to gather. Over on the children's side, you can see that pop of orange starting to show up in the furniture. And the other difference you can see is that band of pinup tackable fabric above. And that's, again, a great spot to just put some kids' projects up. And then looking out, again, imagine this with bookshelves in front of all these windows. Just a real shame. Beautiful views in all directions, mature trees, in this area and on the property. And we love emphasizing that connection to the outdoors. And then zooming into just a little wonderful moment. These window seats are going to be so popular. Kids are just going to rush, grab a book, get comfortable. And we see lots of wonderful memories being made right at that window for many years to come. So I'm going to end by saying we've come so far. You've come so far. This I won't walk you through the whole timeline, but this project started back in 2012 with a master plan. There was a bond measure passed by the community, series of design processes. And as you can see, we are very close to the end of this process. And both of these projects are in construction. And so we're really looking at the last step in a very lengthy and exciting journey for the community.